And now, the Big D and Bubba Weekly Podcast.
Big D and Bubba, they have a show 5 days a week, but they don't get to say everything that's on their mind. So they have an extra one, and that's how we get the podcast, the podcast, the podcast. Big D and Bubba podcast, the podcast, the podcast. Big D and Bubba podcast.
I was throwing in a lot of the Travis Tritt stuff in the back. Oh, just doing all that. I was like, all great. I am like Travis Tritt 2.0.
Oh, yeah. It was awesome.
2.0. Whoa. Yeah.
See ya, bye.
Have a guy. Bye.
I thought that was me talking, like it was me talking.
You're like, wait, that was weird. Yeah, we had a guy we were hanging up with the other day, and I'm going to shorten this later, but I had to put it in there. We were hanging up with him, and it became a gold because instead of saying have a good day, guy, he just said have a guy. Watch.
See ya, bye.
Have a guy. Bye.
Have a guy.
Have a guy by.
Yeah, he got a little. He went. Oh, and he
People get
knew.
nervous. They get
he
nervous.
knew.
Yeah.
As soon as he went. Have a guy. Bye.
See ya, bye.
Have a guy. Bye.
Thought about that all day, dude. He
And
did.
now he's made the podcast. It's
And he's like,
pretty awesome.
but you know what? It was a one-time thing, and it's gone.
Yeah,
it's never
no.
going to be played.
Out of
Or
sight,
again.
out of mind.
I mean, what kind of jerks would sit there and
Record it
replay
and
that?
Just keep playing it, and then
Tell
see
him
ya,
never.
bye.
Yeah.
Have a guy.
Have a guy is all it's going to say.
It's kind of like when you when someone says, "All right, man, have a great day," and you say, something that doesn't work.
Or the worst is like when you're at the airport and you're going through security and it's the security person and they go, have a great flight. And you go, you too. And you're just like, I am such an idiot.
Yes.
What do you think of the prototype? What do you like? You like the all white?
How'd you get a prototype?
Well, I had these made. Remember, it's like the purple ones and all that. We had a couple like
Did you already get
prototypes.
them in?
No, this is from the last thing of prototypes that we poo-pooed and said, no, we're not going to do those.
Oh,
but I
like
found it. It was in the closet. And I'm like, man, this looks good.
Pretty slick.
Yeah, all white Big D and Bubba 17 hat with just the black 17 breaking it up.
It's a good. Looks good. Like if you're gonna go golfing.
Oh, I was going to say,
Tennis.
it's a very formal thing. It looks like this. This looks
A formal
this
ball
looks like
cap.
formal wear.
This is a
Okay,
formal ball
But we're
cap.
talking about Bubba,
This is
so
me dressed up, yo. I'm just saying. I mean,
100%.
I just, the bad thing is it'll get dirty. And I think that's why we actually said no to it was because we were worried it would get dirty too fast.
Yeah, the worst is when you have like a black hat and it gets really sweaty.
But the
And
sweat,
then- and-
oh no, that's how you know it's a good hat.
Yeah, but when you're gonna try and wear it to church, it's just not.
I can
kidding.
wear
Who
this.
Where's a hat to
I'm-
church?
It's a joke.
My
I
church
know
they
it's a
let you wear
joke.
hats now, man.
Gosh.
It's weird. It's like something that happened right, probably like the year and a half, 2 years before COVID. Like you'd start seeing people wearing hats, not ball caps, but they would wear like fedoras and like hipster
one's
hats.
what?
Oh yeah, it's
Okay, when my grandfather went to church, men wore hats, but
Not
yeah,
they take them off.
inside.
They take them off.
That
Right,
is
exactly.
true.
No, these
But
people wear them
yeah.
the whole
What are you-
time.
You're going to again? What Justin Timberlake
It's-
going to your church?
It's a it's
You
a
got
hipster
Bruno
thing.
Mars there.
That's what they think they
Yeah,
are.
that's weird.
They go in and they have like fedoras and just like
so
bowler hats and
disrespectful.
We have a guy at our church who, he doesn't do it now, but for like 2 years, he wore, the guys who get off the giant wheeled bicycles? You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, like it's got one giant wheel in the
Yeah.
front,
And then the really small one.
Yeah.
And his
like 1918 bicycle.
Yeah. He looks like he rode one of those to church, and his sleeves are rolled up. And
Does he have a handlebar mustache?
Yes.
Oh, of course he does.
It's a handlebar mustache, and his hair is like it's totally slicked back, like it's that. It looks
It's
wet.
like, it looks like George Clooney in Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
That's exactly who it looks like. Yes, and he has like a watch, like a pocket watch, that's in his.
Of course he does.
It's like in his. I think it's in his shirt, and then it attaches. The chain goes and attaches to a button.
Carson has no
Something like
patience
that.
for hipsters.
No.
None.
no. What is he? Steampunk too?
And then we have
wearing
like
gears?
I like steampunk stuff.
one of the boys has their dad. So he looks like he's got a big bushy. So he looks like Patrick, kinda. He got a big bushy beard.
Right.
Not as gray, but it's really bushy. And he wears his clothes are like jeans that are rolled up at the bottom, like from the 50s.
Oh yeah,
And then he wears
like Doc Martens,
whatever the shoes,
big shiny patent leather boots.
Yes.
With the big soles.
Yes.
Yes.
And then that's exactly it.
Yep.
And then he has and then he wears his jeans and like really dark denim.
Yeah.
You know, that really dark denim. And in the back pocket he has an oil rag.
Stop.
And it just hangs out.
You're lying.
I am not.
You are lying.
No, man. I know because I said something about it. And he was like, I just have that just for the look. And I
Yeah,
go,
no,
and
that's
I
the
was,
problem. We know it's just for the
$10
look.
says it's sewed into his pocket.
Maybe. And I was so shocked. I didn't know what to say. And he goes, "Oh, it's just for the look." And my brain's going,
Poser.
my brain's going, wait, what are you
He
trying
wouldn't
to do?
even he wouldn't even know how to change his oil if it bit him.
No,
I
at
understand that it is illegal and socially unacceptable for me to just punch people in the face, and yet find me someone that would convict me if I did that to that dude. Nobody. No, you'd be like, that's a punchable guy.
Yeah.
Carson has no patience for hipsters.
Punchable guy. That's
None.
I'm gonna steal that. That is now how I'm gonna justify things. I'm gonna say, that's a punchable guy.
Yeah.
PG. He's PG.
Punchable dude. Yeah, it's weird. Like, I don't know what happened, but like the hipster takeover of a church happened like 3 years ago. And it was really, really weird. They all have their, like, they wear their shirt sleeves and they're rolled up. And, they're all like, it's like, what are you doing? When did this happen?
It's the best, man.
Does your pastor
it's the
just
best.
go, bless you all?
Well,
Because
they
he
also
just-
changed the music director. They went from like the music director, like mom and dad's music director, to like this young hip person, and it's all rocked out now and stuff like that. But I mean, it's good. It's good stuff. It's good church. It's all
I'm
that.
so
but man,
puritanical. This is what being born and raised in New England does to you. It is not church if it's not an organ, and the lady sitting behind it looks like she died 9 years ago. That's who I'm looking for.
That's my lady,
Okay.
Miss Gloria, with the church I grew up in, man.
Okay.
Miss Gloria looked like she was born in the 1800s. And for all I know, it was 1989, so she might have been.
Might have been.
Okay. And she played, and every now and then she'd be playing the organ. I still remember this. And she would just it would be a pause, but she would pause for a little too long, and like half the church would go,
Did
lean back, looking over at Gloria to make sure she didn't just keel over at the organ.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to Big D. Big D is running all the video stuff right now for the video version of the podcast. And for those of you who are only listening online, since we moved it over to YouTube, Big D has been doing all the switching and the cameras and all that kind of stuff. And I just want to say you do a fantastic job.
Thank you, sir.
And it needs to be, there needs to be. Going back to the tip jar kind of thing, I'm just saying, we put out the Big D Venmo, just saying, hey, I really appreciate the way you do your cameras.
Yep.
And then I it's a lot of work. And
Bubba
I know-
has just become a punchable guy.
Let me roll
Go
up-
over there and
let me
just
roll up
knock
my
him in the
shorts.
face, Carson.
But you really don't like the being able to tip us.
I don't.
You and Patrick are both totally anti
And
that.
there's a lot of people agreed with y'all when we talked about it on the air. There were a lot of people who are like, "This is gross."
Well, I thought
Yeah,
it would
it
be
is.
just,
It feels
Tacky.
really tacky. Every time we talk about it.
buy us a
It
coffee is
feels
what I said,
real
and that's
tacky.
all you do. Say, hey, buy us a coffee, because we
you don't
always
hear that?
stop and.
You don't hear that? How bad that
Gross.
sounds? Just
no, unfortunately,
It makes
I
me
don't.
so icky.
yeah.
Well, you know what? We're not doing it because you guys. That's the thing. That's
Yay,
the beautiful
Patrick.
thing
Yay,
is here
us.
is usually everything. It's almost always got to be a unanimous thing around here for all of us to be.
That's
in on.
not even close
Almost
to true.
no, it's not. Almost.
I mean, who's in the
Bubba's
title?
so
Big
full
D
of
and
crap.
Bubba. Like, we don't matter. It's fine.
Yeah, if Bubba and I want to
Bubba
do
does-
something
Yeah,
like that,
you guys
Not
are
only
totally
that,
gonna
Bubba does stuff without even asking us because he's running the board. Like, we don't get a say in 90% of what goes
Now
on.
here's Bubba's move. Bubba's move is this. Bubba's move is this. Hey, what do you can I get your ears on this? Yeah, what you
Yeah,
got? He'll play it and I'll go.
We will tell
yeah.
him.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. He'll go. Yeah, I'm going to do this.
I know I do that. I
Does
know.
it all.
And then I always say
20
that-
years
I
I've been
know.
listening to that line of crap.
And I say the same thing every time I go. Why'd
are
you
you
even ask?
asking us?
Why'd you ask?
Every so often, though, I go. You're right. Do I not every so often?
Every so often.
Yeah.
I
but-
actually took Patrick's advice on something 2 days ago.
Oh, gee.
I'm just saying. I'm like, I want to get your opinion because I don't know. You never know. Sometimes you hear it again, you go, no, it actually sounds good that way. And like I'll play it for you, and I go, that sounds good, and you go, I don't like that, and I'm like, well, I like it, so
Yeah, so
punchable guy.
So it's going to say that. Well, the thing is, Bob, usually, I mean, 9 times out of 10, Bob was right. It does sound good, because he's good at what he does. So he's asking usually just as a,
Sometimes it's an affirmation.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to show off. There are some times where I'm like, y'all got to hear this.
Something this week, I forgot what it was. There was something that you were trying to get on the show, and you had I'm seeing the countdown. I'm like, oh, there's no way he's going to make this. And then got it in. Now, I'm not talking about the one that you did, Patrick. That was a good one, too. But
That was amazing.
But there was one, it was like, he goes, and it got air. And it was like it was like half a second. It was like, finished on the air. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would be a mess.
That's one of those things you have to basically be in that mindset. When we're doing the show and it's all live and everything's going on, you are literally on a clock and you can have dead air. And that's just in our world. We were brought up with the old school guys who actually played CDs and all the records and all that. Yeah. So dead air is like the cardinal sin. So, it's really weird to have it. And that's why we don't do it very often. And hopefully it continues that way. But, yeah, sometimes you're trying to get something in there and you just have to commit. And you're like, I don't think I have enough time, but I'm going to try anyway and take the gamble.
Yeah, and you can't be kind of wishy-washy on it. You're like, okay, I've decided. I'm in it. Let's go. And I'm just sitting there. I have no control. I have no idea what any of this stuff does. I used to kind of know, but anymore, I don't.
Vivica asked me one time, what happens if two of you, or no offense to Carson, but if out of the three, because one of us will run the board, what happens if two of you are sick? I said, well, if I'm sick, Bub and Dee, they can handle it. They can, of course, do the show by themselves. And if Dee's sick, Bub and I can handle the show. And if Bub and I are both sick, I don't know what happens.
We're off the air.
Because Dee is really good
Actually, that's where
running the conversation, but not running the board.
That's where Carson steps in and goes, D, I got this.
Yeah,
and then she
True.
takes D into her studio.
That's what I was about to say. D, we're gonna have to go fit in my little shoebox. But yeah,
Carson
we'd be
has
good.
her own studio. She knows how to run the board in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's where she'll run it from if ever that happens.
I can barely run Bubba's board. Like it's just it's
very
also,
overwhelming.
It also is a lot of paranoia from 20 years of him being,
Well,
somebody touched something.
I know when something is
So
off. Look,
I don't.
there was a weird time where somebody had pressed a program button on one that I could never figure out, and it was feeding back itself, and it was making this weird loop. And like I would go to put this on there, and it would do that. Remember? And we fought against that for the longest time.
Yeah.
And now I fixed it to where it never happens because somebody pressed a button. And I think, honestly, it was probably like the cleaning guy who comes in on Sunday nights, and every week he dusts and does all the stuff. And I think he just, when he was dusting, pressed the button. And I thought something was wrong with the equipment. I'm like, why is there a feedback loop in here?
What is all this stuff behind you? I'm looking at your shot. There's an eagle. It looks like the top of a vacuum cleaner and a bunch of boxes and a keyboard.
All right, now back there we do have the eagle. Thank you, Marianne. We have an eagle. I have a skateboard. There is the thing that looks like the top of a vacuum cleaner is it's a tripod, a camping tripod.
Okay.
Like it folds up and you fit it in your backpack. And then I have a couple boxes of lighting and equipment and stuff like that for whenever we added the lighting for the podcast. And I need to just go put all that in the closet. So.
Okay.
But the eagle is
Except
awesome.
the eagle. The eagle stays.
The eagle and the skateboard
Yeah, he
stays.
does.
And then I go over to Carson's shot and I see a stuffed dog, and I see the reflection of our Christmas tree, and parts and lights from Bubba's light box that he has on his side because it's so cool looking. And then I go over to Patrick, and it's whiskey. I see whiskey for days.
I don't know if you can really see whiskey behind me, but God bless, I hope you can.
Yes, it's the whole
You know what's
thing.
weird is we played poker this week and we finished 2 bottles of whiskey.
Well,
I
which
see
ones?
where they were.
Which
See, there's a big hole in the shelf.
behind the Knob Creek over there and
Yeah.
behind the Redneck Riviera.
And Tracy and I, when we were doing this week's show, finished a bottle of whiskey. So
you
three
took
less
3
bottles
off
of
there.
whiskey.
Are you guys get sloshed when you're
We don't
doing
get
that show?
No. But I mean, there wasn't that much left in the bottle. But yeah, we
Oh
finished
my
the bottle.
God, you guys are! I have to listen to it. I got to listen to it this weekend just to see if I can pick up.
I actually like that show. If you have never listened, no, I'm actually very, very much a fan of it. Tracy Lawrence comes in and does a show called Honky Tonkin', and he does it here in our studio with Patrick. And it's just cool because they'll interview different people like y'all had, like everybody.
We had the Oak Ridge Boys and Marty Rabin and Ronnie Millsap.
So they get all
recently.
these older people, and they just come in and they start telling road stories, and then they play songs, and sometimes
about
they're
the songs
taking
and-
shots, and it's just
No, it's
so
but
cool.
When we don't have a guest, this is our 7th year. It started out as Tracy we'd get him all this information, and he'd say stuff like, all the way to number 3 back in 1985. That was fine, but he got bored of doing that, and then it just became Tracy coming in here and trying to make me laugh. And then it was like, okay, he's involving me in the conversation. And then I started trying to make him laugh, and now it's just devolved into me and Tracy trying to make each
Not
other laugh.
evolved, it's devolved.
Devolved. Absolutely. But you know what? It's the show that we want to do. So we talk about all the time, trying to make content that's entertaining. And it's entertaining.
It is. It's cool because, again, like you guys will start telling stories, and then you'll have like Clint Black or somebody will be in there with you guys, or Reba, and she'll tell stories, and it's just everybody just kind of out trying to story each other, and it's fun. So if you haven't listened,
And we drink whiskey.
find it on the radio. It's called
It's always
Honky
weird
Tonkin'
when I
with
have
Tracy
to
Lawrence.
when I have to ask somebody's manager. So it's something in all my years of working with you guys, I never had to do. When I'm setting up an interview and go, and by the way, do they have some kind of alcohol problem or anything I need to know about? Is it going to be an issue if Tracy and I are drinking? Because we won't. Or should we involve, like when Johnny Lee was in here, and Johnny Lee, I poured him a glass of whiskey, and I poured him a normal sized glass of whiskey, and he looked at me and he goes, "Let me ask you a question. Who else is coming?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" He goes, "Keep pouring."
Keep pouring.
All right, dude. He outdrank me and Tracy.
That's awesome.
That is
It was
fantastic.
pretty great, and that interview just kept getting better and better the further we went. Good time.
Sometime this week will you try and get the boys in for to talk some UFOs?
Low cash?
Low cash.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Because we're coming up on it, man.
I know.
It's
All
coming
guys
up. You
wanna
see,
do
you're
is
starting to
talk
see it
about UFOs.
now. You're seeing it more
You know,
and
why
more
don't we,
and
why
more,
don't we do
man.
this? If you want to schedule them, get them in on like Friday, and maybe we can put them on the podcast too, and then kind of really dive in. We could do both the show and the podcast.
I remember when the New York Times came out with the first article where it was saying, yes, from the Pentagon and from a military government contractor, that yes, we do have vehicles that were not made of this world.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
And I thought that was going to be huge. And it was nothing. No one cared. Crickets. No one cared. It was hardly covered on the mainstream Fox and CNN and whatnot. And then it gets written into this bill in December, a COVID bill, and it's to say, hey, in 180 days, we're going to release this stuff about what we know from our intelligence agencies in the U.S.
Everything. The word was everything.
About UFOs. And so we're coming up on it, and now you're starting to see more stories, more videos
trickling. Lately, it's been like somebody, when it's about to freeze and you got to open the pipes just a little bit so it doesn't. It's coming out like that right now.
It's starting to you're starting to see it more and more. And I was wondering, is if the algorithm, because I look at it so much, maybe it's just sending me what I want to see, which is what it does
more.
And but but it's not. Like I was in the kitchen the other day, and I have one of those it's like a little TV in there, just gets over the air signal. So it only picks up CBS, and Ellen was on, and she started talking about UFOs, asking the guests about, hey, we're coming up on this thing. And she said, I watched this documentary a few years back that really kind of laid it all out. And it's weird to see how it seems like everyone's on board with this now. And is this going to happen?
Well, it's going to happen. It has to happen. And, I often, again, for those people who, I've said it before, I'll kind of give a little rundown. I don't know if it's aliens from another planet. I really don't. Okay, so think about infrared light. Like Big D and I had this conversation the other day. Infrared spectrum. We didn't even know it existed. You hold up your remote control, you point it at the TV, and it's invisible and it changes the channel. That's infrared light. If you have special optics, like goggles or whatever, you can see that light. You can transmit information on that light. It exists. It is there. But we can't see it because we didn't know it was there. But now we know it exists. So think about where that is now with the aliens. Could they have always been here? Could it just be something else that is on a different plane? Almost like ghosts, like, maybe ghosts are possibly connected to the UAPs, UFOs, all that kind of stuff. Like, is it something that we're only now able to recognize and say that this is this? I don't know. Could it be a technological thing?
Well, if you go back and look at pieces of artwork from the beginning of time, there are some that have weird objects that are flying in the sky. Mm-hmm. And so it could have been here this whole time. You're right. This may not be that we were suddenly contacted 50 years ago. That this could just be we've been, I don't know, visited.
And there's also
There's
also the discussion of, was there ever a human population here on Earth before the one that we're in now? I mean, if everything stopped right now and all people disappeared within just a few thousand years, you would have zero trace that we ever existed. You would have certain things like, the granite mountains, like Mount Rushmore would probably still be somewhat there, but you don't know. I mean, any kind of volcanic activity could change all that kind of stuff. I mean, any little thing. So there's been a lot of speculation of lost technology. And you look at like different, I mean, dude, there's Egyptian batteries, like battery technology. Atlantis.
The whole idea of Atlantis.
And they were supposed to be way ahead of us. So, I mean,
I saw Jason Momoa. That's what he told me.
Yeah.
And where are we seeing a lot of these UAPs originating from?
Around the water.
A lot of from the water. A lot. I sent Bubba
Maybe
one.
it's Atlantis after all. Maybe they're just down there. We don't know it.
Yeah. Like
the Gungans.
I understand why people don't care, and I'm going to tell you
Gungans from Star
100%.
Wars.
This is the most boring conversation to me. Like I just don't
because
care
you don't care. I know
don't.
that's the weird thing.
And
it's like
there's
this
part
is
of
the
me that's
biggest
like,
news
I
for the
can't
human
believe
race.
people don't care about this, and then y'all start talking about it, and I go, man, I do not care about this at all.
It's one of the biggest questions of human. Of mankind.
I mean, because I'm so used to the government lying to me, like, whatever.
They're
not going to tell us anything.
Is
and
there
if
a
they
God,
do,
and is there something else out there?
I'll figure it out then.
But it's always, is there something else out there? Are we alone? And is there a God? And science is proving now through quantum physics that, yes, there is a supreme something out there observing us, because for something to exist, it must be observed. Therefore, by definition, quantum physics proves that there is an observer. Now, some may say God, some may say whatever, but there is something watching over everything for it to exist. Quantum physics is awesome.
Yeah, and way above my pay grade. So
Chris,
wait, you guys are getting paid?
yeah,
money.
Chris moved to Florida, so we might need to
we'll
do
make
it
that
over the phone.
Well, we'll make that work though.
Move to Florida.
Yeah, man. He's taking his beach vacation forever.
Why not?
I've often said,
COVID, go live where you want.
I have often said,
the last year, nobody did anything anyway.
People go on vacation to places they wish they lived. Why don't you just move?
And there's a lot of places I'd love to vacation that I don't want to live in.
There's a lot of places
Including the
I'd love to
beach.
live, but I can't Can't get a job there.
See, and that's the problem with our show is we have to be here for the access to the,
You're telling
the
me
industry.
that
you
is
know?
the problem.
Oh yeah.
No, but that is the problem for me. We have we have to be here for the access to the artists and all that kind of stuff. To be able to have like Low Cash come in and do whatever next week and talk aliens. I mean, you have to. That's where we have to be because this is like the industry center. However, if I had my choice, I would be on a beach right now. We would live.
Where would you live? Where would you live? You go Guam?
Man, I would probably do Puerto Rico or maybe the Virgin Islands.
Puerto Rico, man. That's where that video was.
That's where that one. Yeah, I know
that UFO
the craft going over the airport,
and then going back into the water with no splash. It just kind of melts into it. Oh my god!
Amazing.
Stop it.
What?
Nothing. It's just, I love that Bubba's going to move to a beach, and then really one of the driving forces. There's UFOs there, man.
Well,
There's UFOs.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no, I can't. It's just.
Where would
I would live in Europe though. Like I would love to live in
I love
Paris or Rome or
dude,
Frankfurt.
you can't.
Paris. No,
the
man.
roads are too narrow. You could never walk down the street.
I'll come back to that.
I
I talk
love
for a
Great
living,
Britain
so
and
I couldn't
Scotland.
go and work. Like if I was like my brother-in-law who just writes code all day long in a room for 50 hours, I would go live some. Who cares if you live in Paris and you don't speak the language? You can write code and then go. Like I could get by, but no, if you talk for a living, any kind of job, salesman or doing this or whatever, I couldn't work there. I don't speak the language.
See, that's kind of the barrier in Puerto
to live
Rico.
there.
Most everything there is Spanish, and my Spanish is horrible. I can understand it way better than I can speak it.
Side note, though, I remember being in Frankfurt in 2008, I think it was, and looking around, and I'd been there for like 4 or 5 days, and finally realizing, where are all the fat people? I don't see any fat people.
I know.
It's because they walk everywhere,
It's
man.
not, people say that. It's not just that. Oh, and the
No,
food
it's
is
the
so
same
different.
thing with New York City too. People walk everywhere.
I think they hide them. I'm just saying. I think they have them. They just don't let them out.
There's like one
Where?
neighborhood.
Fat people are harder to hide.
In-
I don't
in
fit
the
behind a
woods.
pole.
I'm just saying. They're in the basement somewhere. They don't let them out.
When we were in Japan, I thought that the kids were coming up to touch me because of my skin color or something. No, it was because
your
they're
hair.
the fattest person they'd ever seen.
they're like, wow.
The two of us walking through that airport, I'll never forget walking through that airport in Tokyo and people looking at us like, oh, is this sumo?
Sumo.
Well, what was which one of y'all had the shirt, the T-shirt? I'm not a sumo wrestler.
I am. It's in Japanese.
It was in
It
Japanese.
said, I am not a sumo wrestler. I forgot about that. That was awesome.
Yeah, I wore that around. I am not a sumo
Oh my
wrestler.
God. When I went, remember that sushi restaurant we went to with it was like the chain, the
Yes.
train. I mean, and it came, all the sushi came through. I went to the bathroom in that restaurant, and it looked like a child toilet, like they have in preschool,
Yeah.
like for the little kids to potty train on. And it was the full. And I'm just looking at it, going, how?
What'd you do? You just
I mean, luckily I was only on number one, so it wasn't a problem, But I can only imagine
like when
having
you-
to sit on that,
like when you go to-
like for.
Yeah.
Japanese toilets for the win. I'm sorry. They have
that one.
most of the places we went to in the bathrooms, they had the little thing that spins around, and gives you a new seat so you don't sit where the other person was before, so you don't have to put toilet paper down and all that. So this thing would spin around, give you fresh paper to sit on.
Yeah.
Then you had a heated, a warmed seat. And then the bidet was also warm, so you would have the option of
Carson's
cold,
like, I hate this.
cold or warm water to
You're
wash your
forgetting
bottom.
the best part of the ones in the airport, at least.
Which ones?
They played music.
Oh yeah, and they
had
had
a button
music
you
too.
could where it could play music,
Yeah.
so people couldn't hear what else was going on.
Or it could relax you. You
Yeah.
could be, you could
Maybe
hear.
you need
It-
a little
Those
box to help
toilets
you.
are the greatest.
And I appreciate the musical ones because we've been in those bathrooms
Yeah,
where
you
some
hear
people
stuff.
really should have. Like, what are you? Go home. Go home for that.
But you're in an airport. You can't go
Go home.
They're trying to go home.
No, go home.
They're trying to go home.
No, it's in the warm water. Like my bidet at home, my house is old, so the only pipe going into the toilet is cold water. So when I use my bidet, it's always the little woohoo, hey there, all right, clean, feels cold. But the warm ones, I would just sit there. I'd be like, Y'all just go
Look
about
at
your
Carson's
day.
face.
I ain't moving.
There are certain things that will
Clean that
never
bottom.
that will never leave my propriety senses, and like bathroom talk is one of the.
Yeah, I know.
My
I get
Bubba
so
can't
weird.
wait to
My
tell us
bidet-
I
about his
know, and I
bidet.
get so weird about
my
it.
bidet has 2 different nozzles, one for him and one for her.
That's
so
delightful.
very nice.
That's delightful. That's delightful.
I'm just saying, if
yes.
people don't have bidets in their homes, it's
Draw her a
Please
sketch.
don't. Please
of,
don't. I feel like that's an HR violation. Do not draw Carson a sketch of your bidet.
So say this is where it hits, and like have like a boy body.
okay.
No,
then a girl
seriously. I'm trying to stop you from doing this.
So this is what it's like. It's like that. It's like it looks almost like a Muppet.
Put it up to the camera.
Yeah, put
hold
it to
it
the camera.
So that's what it is, and so it's got 2 little nozzles underneath. These are the nozzles, and they spray water up towards your bum and clean stuff.
Okay, when you hold. Okay, where's the back and the front of the
Okay.
toilet?
Yeah. Okay. I'll do the back of the toilet.
And just label it for me. I need to
Back.
really need to see this.
And little things are so they're under the seat. You don't see them. They're under the seat. This is like with the bowl without
okay.
the seat on it.
Okay.
So it's the back, and these
Yeah,
are
yeah,
behind you, and they squirt forward. They squirt forward this way and hit you in your spots.
Okay, so it's actually kind of coming from a side.
No, it comes from the bottom, is what I'm saying. It goes like it's behind you.
Yeah, but it's kind of hitting you. But I'm saying it's kind of hitting you.
No, I just draw bad.
Oh. Okay.
So it hits you right there in the middle.
Yeah, I got you. You like it, huh?
Fascinating podcast, isn't
You
it?
like it? You want to talk about
Man.
UFOs?
Let's please. Can we talk about what the bidets are like on the UFOs?
Oh man,
Bidets on UFOs are nice.
Bet they are.
I watched a whole thing on a guy who claims that he was abducted and walked through the whole step of everything that that happened, and I don't know, man. There's something to it, man. I don't know. I mean, something's going to happen though. This next few days, 30 days is going to be crazy.
We're going to find some insane stuff
Yeah.
out. We're going to find out that no, we're not alone. Is it alien? Is it something from an optional? I mean, a multiverse type situation, like something from.
Doesn't it all come to a head on
another
Michael
dimension?
Jackson Death Day?
On what?
On Michael Jackson Death Day? Doesn't it all come to
does
a head
it?
on June 25th?
On my birthday. Hold on.
No, I believe that's the day Michael Jackson died.
I know.
No. That's Farrah Fawcett's.
Farrah
Oh,
Fawcett
right,
died
right.
Day. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But no, I think it is. It's June 25th, isn't it?
What is Disclosure Day?
Man, I don't think it is. I think it's.
Can we all
Like
watch
it's a
Captain
couple-
EO? Oh my gosh! Way to celebrate the aliens coming. I'm going to watch Michael Jackson as an alien.
Sure.
What day
So in.
I'm trying to do Disclosure Day. I'm getting it. People call it Disclosure Day, but they're not actually saying the date. What happens if Disclosure
Sorry,
Day
I'm
arrives?
sitting on Carson's camera. She's guzzling a Diet Coke like she's in college.
Is that what college students drink?
What is Disclosure
Disclosure
Day?
Day. Unclassified UFOs must be have 180
Yeah.
days. Okay, so we're gonna have to do the math on this, aren't we?
Well, what was the day they
I
passed
can't-
it? Just tell me the day they passed it.
Okay,
Wasn't it
Rain.
right
Hang on,
before-
Rain Man. I'm getting there.
Christmas?
It was.
I am looking, and I can't find the
I
actual
swear
date.
we talked about this the other day, and it was June 25th.
Okay, so it's 180 days, and the bill was passed.
This is terrible.
I feel stupid. I don't know. I'm sure everyone has already punted off of that.
Yeah.
I don't blame them.
Man, if you're still listening to this podcast,
Yeah. Ooh,
Bless
wow,
you.
your
Listen.
remote must be broke, or your fingers broken.
Yeah, I can't find the actual date, but if it is my birthday,
Try-
that will be
think
the
it is.
greatest birthday present ever.
I thought it was June 25th.
Yeah, it's in that.
It's in that range. It's in
Range.
that area because, yeah, my birthday is exactly halfway to Christmas. So that's, you're talking your 180s. So.
Anyway, okay.
All right.
Well,
Oh,
all right.
look. John
find-
Brennan, former CIA director, says that these objects that the military is seeing might not be conventional craft, not necessarily from Earth. Okay, so that takes away my time travel theory as well. Because I've always said maybe it's time tourists, like people from the future who are coming back to look at the good old days or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like Jurassic Park for, hyperhumans from the future.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not Jurassic Park at all.
But you know what I
They
mean.
don't time travel in Jurassic
I
Park.
know they don't, but I'm saying they come here to go and
I
look
get
at
very impassioned about Jurassic Park. So.
we're the dinosaurs, is what I'm saying. So they want to come and look at us. I don't know. Either way, we're going to find out,
You just get
and we'll find
DNA
out soon.
from
Yeah.
mosquito.
All right. What are you doing?
I'm turning off my thing because Steve is calling me. Steve from the fire department. I'm a firefighter. I don't know if you guys knew that.
You are. All right. We got Jake Owen up. See ya. Bye. What?
Have a guy.
Have a guy. All right.
Yes. For those of you who are listening to the audio version, Jake Owen interview coming up right after the closing jingle. And thank you to O'Reilly Auto Parts, our sponsor. As always, we love you, O'Reilly
Yes.
Auto Parts.
Have a day. Have
O'Reilly
a guy.
Auto Parts, better prices every day.
See ya. Bye.
Have a guy. Bye.
This was the podcast, but now it's over. But that's okay, 'cause you can listen to the regular show on the radio every day. It was the podcast.
Have a guy.